Estrella Sanchez. In this video, I am going to explain you a little bit about the chapter number 3 that is called Liberal and Social Theories.
Warning on what? In recent years, a strong trend toward favoring a smaller world has become evident. First, consider that the longer-term trend in the first half of the 20th century were killed tens of millions and left whole continents in ruin. In 2012, the world's most destructive war was in Syria, because a rebellion and social brutal suppressions cost at least 6,000 lives over 2 years. Death caused by all the types of war, including actions such as shellings, car bombs, and airstrikes, but not including the direct death from disease, because these have fallen quite dramatically over 60 years. Events in the past Cold War era continued this long term. In 2006, war in Sudan, Iraq, and Afghanistan left lasting wounds and people who died in this war, and this continued progressions in all the world. Continue with this topic. We are going to talk about the liberal theories. Uh, Following what Kant says, there are two principles. One of them is the reciprocity, that is the mutual cooperation, and the other one is identity, that is the norm and public opinion. The liberal dispute of the realist notions is the narrow of the self-interest, that is more rational than the mutual beneficial cooperation. International regimes convergence expectations of state leaders about the rules for issue areas in the IR help providing stability in the absence of a world government. In a collective security arrangement, a group of states agree to respond together aggressions by any participating state. The UN and other egos form these functions. Liberal institutionalism argues that the emphasis should be placed on a global governments and international organizations as a way of explaining international relationships. Institutionalism places emphasis on the role that the common goals play in the international system and the ability of international organizations to get states to cooperate. Neoliberalism argued that reciprocity can effective strategy for achieving cooperation in a situations of interest. The use of the prisoner dilemma can illustrate the argument that the cooperation is possible. Each actor can gain by individually defecting, but both lose when both defect. International regiments. It is a set of rules, norms, and procedures around which the expectations of an actor converge in a certain issue area. The convergence of expectations means that the participants in the international systems have similar ideas about what rules will be governed. Their mutual participation regiments can help solve collective problems by increasing transparency, because everyone knows what everyone else is doing. Some regiments that we have are NATO, UN, and the World Health Regimes. Collective security refers to the formation of a broad alliance of a major actor in the international system for the purpose of jointly opposing aggression by any actor. The success of the collective security depends on 2 points. First, the members must keep their alliance commitment to the group. The second one, if no member must agree on what constitutes democratic peace, can argue that the lasting peace will depend on the state becoming republic, with legislatures to check the power of monarch or president to make the war. One theory considered was fundamentally different from the authoritarianism over the past 2 centuries. Democracy has become more widespread as a form of government, and this trend is changing the nature of foreign policy process worldwide. Social theories. Postmodernism is a broad approach to scholarship that has left its mark on various academic disciplines, especially the study of literature. Postmodernist critics of realism, those centers of analysis, realistic words and arguments. A central idea of postmodernism is that there is not a single objective reality, but a multiplicity of experience and perspectives that define easy categorizations. Postmodernist scholarships in the IR precede the third stage, has largely been supplanted by constructivism. Marxism's approach to IR holds that both IR and the domestic politics arise from an unequal relationship between economic class. Marxism is a branch of socialism, a theory that holds that the more powerful classes suppress and exploit the less powerful by denying them their fair share of the surplus they create. The oppressed classes try to gain power in order to seize more of the wealth for themselves. This process called struggle. Marx's theories of a class struggle were oriented toward domestic society in the industrialization countries of his time, not toward poor countries or international relationships. Marx attached more importance to his class concepts because which is in his view the dominating actor in the international system. Peace study. Peace study challenge fundamental concepts behind both realism and neoliberalism. In particular, peace studies seek to shift the focus of IR away from the interest level of analysis and toward a broad conception of social relations at the individual, domestic, and global level of analysis, and also a study that connects war and peace with individual responsibility, economic inequality, gender relations, cross-cultural understanding, and other aspects from social relationships. And also is looking for the transition of the state leader but in the transformation of entire society through social revolution in international communities, bypassing state and northern borders to connect people and groups globally. The development and implementation of peaceful strategies for settling conflicts using alternatives to violent forms of leverage are known by the general term conflict resolution. These methods are at work competing with violent methods in virtually all international conflicts. Recently, the use of conflict resolution has been increasing, becoming more sophisticated, and succeeding more often. Peace studies scholars argue that war is not just a natural expression of power, but one closely tied to militarism. In some cultures, militarism is the glorification of war, military force and violence through TV, films, books, political speeches, toys, games, sports, and other social venues. Militarism also refers to the structuring of society war. For example, the dominating role both military-industrial complex in a national economic or in the dominance of national security issues in the domestic politics. Gender theory. This theory has come in many forms, all which share a concentration of women's life and the sources of gender roles, or gender politics. Feminist theorism emphasize that female approaches to human interaction and other pursuits are not given equitable understanding in social analysis and practice. Feminists seek not only to explain historical and present-day phenomena, but to foster changes in the political, economic, and social interactions. Areas of investigation have included a focus on understanding the reason for the devaluing of women's contribution to the world and new ways to use feminist thinking to improve the life of women. While all the feminists agree that women should be brought into positions of power in all civilian and military institutions, they differ assessing the consequences of such a major change shouldn't occur. While some feminist theorists, usually called liberal feminists, hold that women in powerful positions make decisions and exercise power in ways that are essentially the same as a man. Others, different feminists, contend that the traditional realistic and liberal IR theory reflect a male-centered descriptions of aggressive state controlled by a man, and that the world might well become a less violent place if women had greater power in international affairs.